Hello everyone. Today, we're talking about a reptile that Charles Darwin himself threw an enormous amount of shade at. Welcome back to Sketchbook Biology. Generally, I agree with most of Darwin's opinions in biology, being the father of evolutionary biology and all that. But when I found out that he sailed to the Galapagos in 1835, saw this thing and called it disgusting and clumsy, I was very disappointed in the man. This less than conventionally handsome reptile that looks like Godzilla, but due to international copyright laws it's not, is the marine iguana. And if you saw one swimming towards you and you knew nothing about them, you'd probably run away as if it was Godzilla, though it isn't. But really, marine iguanas are chill, mostly herbivorous reptiles endemic to the Galapagos Islands. Actually, they're way more special than just that. Marine iguanas are the only living species of lizard that spends a considerable amount of time in a marine environment. They're chunky, low-slung, very grumpy looking, and adults can grow to be the size of a house cat or the tire of a 2013 Chevy Cruze when they're coiled up on a rock. It all kind of depends on which of the 11 subspecies we're talking about, the largest named after Godzilla. But all marine iguanas have short, powerful legs with long, curved claws that look like tiny grappling hooks. They also have a line of pointy spines running from the back of the head down to the tail. Males usually have longer spines and bigger bony plates on their heads compared to the females. Most adults are usually dark gray with muted markings. Their darker colors help them with a couple of things. The first is camouflage. They're very hard to see on a rocky background. And second, the dark colors pick up more heat and help iguanas warm up quickly after swimming in the frigid water. After all, they are ectotherms and cannot regulate their body temperature independently. Adult males change color with the seasons, getting brighter during breeding time. Their colors, along with the rest of their appearance, also varies quite a lot by which island they're from. Southern island males are especially flashy with reds, pinks, and turquoise, while those from the northern islands are mostly dark and plain. Also, younger iguanas are very slightly more colorful with pale stripes along their backs. Females, on the other hand, tend to look more similar across islands and stay darker and less colorful. Marine iguanas are perfectly built for their ocean lifestyle. Unlike most lizards, a marine iguana's tail is flattened side to side. In the water, this tail provides propulsion, making them surprisingly competent but slow and less than graceful swimmers. Their strong limbs and sharp claws let them cling to slippery rocks and push themselves along the underwater landscape. Also, they're very buoyant, but their heavy front limbs kind of act like ballasts, keeping them down when they need to dive. Pretty much all foraging is associated with water, while time on land is spent basking on the shore, sometimes laying around or on top of other iguanas, taking part in what little socializing they do and sometimes sneezing some salt. Ooh, that sounds a little illegal, a little criminal, but it's not, I think. I'm not familiar with the legal structure of lizard communities. Much like the marine iguana's tail, sneezing out salt from their nostrils is an adaptation to their way of life, and we'll go into more detail in just a bit. These iguanas feed almost exclusively on red and green algae that grow in the inter- and subtidal zones. These guys and girls are basically underwater algae munching machines. They can dive as deep as 30 meters, that's about 100 feet, and stay underwater for up to an hour. But most dives are way shorter, usually just a few meters and a few minutes, darting in and out of the water to snack on some exposed algae on the rocks below. Their snouts are smooshed and their head looks blunt. Yeah, blunt is the best word I can think of right now. This helps them get uncomfortably close with the algae. And they do have teeth, but not the scary kind, just vegetarian tricuspid teeth that are perfect for scraping algae off rocks. Their hindguts are also specially adapted to this diet, housing colonies of endosymbiotic bacteria that help break down all the algae. And of course, each subspecies varies slightly in their diet based on the abundance of algal species in their neck of the woods. But they all love red algae. Green algae is alright, and they hate brown algae because it's harder to digest. They'd much rather starve than eat brown algae. And digestion happens once the iguanas come out of the water. They bask in the sun and occasionally move under shade to warm their bodies to a high enough temperature for digestion to occur, while carefully preventing overheating. Now, the amount of algae around isn't always steady. It can swing wildly over an iguana's lifetime. During El Niño events, warmer water and the extra rainfall messes with the ocean currents, which can wipe out their usual algae supply. It can get really rough during these times for iguanas, and many do starve, but to survive, they shrink. Yep, they just get smaller. They shrink up to about 20% of their normal length. Smaller bodies mean less energy spent just staying alive, so the food they do get goes further. And it's not just losing fat and muscle like us, this shrinkage seems to involve bone loss as well, since cartilage and connective tissue alone cannot explain the size drop. Then, when the food is back, they can grow back to their original length, rebuilding their bones pretty fast. This is one of those things that are still under investigation by scientists because rapid bone regrowth is a really cool survival hack. Outside of algae, these lizards might supplement their diet with plants, insects, crustaceans, dead fish, because they're not quite good enough swimmers to catch live fish. They might even eat octopuses if the opportunity presents itself. And sea lion poop is a delicacy in their culture. Speaking of poop, in their first months on this planet, baby iguanas eat the doo-doo of bigger marine iguanas to curate their growing hindguts with the bacterial colonies needed to digest algae. Now, as you might have already suspected, this diet is very salty. Not only because of the algae, but also because while grazing on the algae, they're gulping down a bunch of seawater. And all that salt has to leave the body. Usually, the kidneys take care of filtering the salt from the blood, but that needs a lot of fresh water, which marine iguanas don't exactly have. So, most of the extra salt travels in the blood to a special gland near their eyes connected to their nostrils. Once enough salty fluid has accumulated in the gland, the iguanas sneeze it all out. The salty spray often lands on their own heads, dries fast, and leaves a white crust that makes it look like they're wearing a salt crown. Aren't they so freaking cool? I bet Charles Darwin didn't even know that these iguanas came pre-seasoned. In all seriousness though, Darwin was and is still considered one of the best scientists to have ever lived. But it's so funny to me how judgmental Victorian scientists were toward the animals they were studying. I mean, marine iguanas are just a little bit ugly, maybe even a little sluggish out of the water, but definitely not repulsive or disgusting. I think they neatly fall under the banner of ugly cute. But they're nice babies. The only time they're not super nice is during breeding season. The big boys posture by head bobbing, stiff-legged walking, raising their spiky crests, and flashing the red inside of their mouths. Most disputes end there, but if neither one of the rivals back down, they'll shove their heads together in a slow, ritualized pushing match that can drag on for a few hours. These fights usually look intense but rarely cause any serious injury. The females usually choose the biggest male, especially those with good territories near the sea. Smaller males also sometimes sneak in for quick matings, but this rarely works. So, other than these fights, they really are very chill. They're even very good about sharing space. Marine iguanas have a few laid-back relationships with other animals. Lava lizards will sometimes run over them while chasing flies, and birds like the Darwin's finches, mockingbirds, and even crabs pick mites and ticks off the iguana's skin. And the iguanas mostly don't seem to care. When they're underwater, fish help out by nibbling away loose and shedding skin. They mostly don't understand personal space, I think. They regularly hang out on each other, or sometimes on top of much bigger animals like the Galapagos sea lions, and they don't seem to care about it either. It's all Gucci, as the kids used to say in the Galapagos. And that is where we leave these imps of darkness, these beautiful marine iguanas. A special thank you to all the scientists, grad students, undergrads, technicians, and anyone else that had the pleasure of traveling to the Galapagos Islands to study and publish their marine iguana research. And thank you for being here and supporting me. If today is your birthday, happy birthday to you. Make sure you bask in the sunlight to get warm enough to digest your cake. But if you're just out there, having the saltiest food, make sure you drink a lot of water. We don't have salt glands and kidney stones are no fun. And while you're at it, please like and subscribe. I'll see you again soon. Peace.